All right, with record new cases in some states, we need to look at how the coronavirus will impact the economy over this summer. We bring in Labor Secretary Eugene Scalia. Mr. Secretary, appreciate you taking the time on a Saturday. I remember sitting in this chair on a Saturday back in March when we were talking about 15 days of shutting down businesses to, quote, slow the spread. We're now in late June, almost July, and parts of Texas are shutting down once again. Is it time to admit that the economic effects of this and thus the economic subsidies to help with those are going to have to go on for a lot longer than we originally thought?
Well, I think we did slow the spread and we did flatten the curve, which was the objective of the measures that were taken March, April, and through a lot of the country in May, too. And we made tremendous progress, both in containing the virus and also in building up our medical capacity so that there are flare-ups, Leland, we're ready to contend with them. We always knew the virus would still be around. We are reminded by what's going on in some cities that there are still circumstances that call for care, caution, because the virus is still here. But we are reopening safely and successfully throughout the country, putting millions of people back to work.
Millions of people are going back to work. There's also millions of people, or hundreds of thousands of people now, who have gone back to work who are not going to be able to go back to work anymore. They're going to be employed by businesses that are going to have to shut down again. I'm thinking in Texas, in Florida, there's talk of new shutdowns in Arizona, stay-at-home suggestions, if not orders, perhaps coming in Los Angeles. So is there going to need to be another round of PPP or the $600 unemployment top-up insurance? Is that going to have to happen now?
Well, I think there's a need, above all, Leland, for people to continue to exercise self-discipline and caution, social distancing, masks in many circumstances. In terms of what might be done with further legislation, some of the programs that you've mentioned are going to expire at the end of July. I think there'll be discussions as that approaches about whether additional measures are needed. The unemployment benefit you mentioned was a really important thing to be doing as we close our economy, that $600 a week additional federal benefit. But I think as we reopen the economy, we're not going to want to continue that particular benefit. But I think there's a good discussion to be had about whether there are measures we still will need.
You were down in Texas earlier this week talking to business leaders in Dallas. Here is what noted Dallas businessman Mark Cuban has to say about the situation there. Take a listen.
When there is a problem, you step up and you address the issue and you provide comfort and you provide details and you provide information to the citizens so that we can make the right decisions about our health and the economy. He hasn't done that.
He that Cuban is referring to is the president. I know you're going to take issue with that, but talk to me about what these business owners in Dallas were telling you. I can't imagine that they view shutting down again as a viable option as the governor is ordering.
There, again, is need to be careful about the virus, but there's a lot of good stuff going on right now in our economy, and that was what a lot of my discussion with the business leaders was about. We put out a jobs report for May that was stupendous. We added 2.5 million jobs. We're seeing consumer spending rising, record levels, increases. Same thing with new home construction. So there are a lot of really positive signs, and I heard a lot of optimism about reopening and reopening safely, and that was a conversation in Texas earlier this week. So I think, again, this week was also good for the American workers. The president signed a couple of orders. Monday signed that order to suspend further immigrant workers so we can get Americans all back to work. And then Friday signed a really important order about the federal government not requiring college degrees for jobs where they're not needed. You know, 2/3 of Americans don't have a college degree. And so this opens the federal government to more workers. So I think there are a lot of really good things going on, good for American workers. But the virus is still something we keep an eye on, obviously.
Interesting what you said about the college degrees. We're going to have you back to talk about that and what that might mean in those jobs that'll make a difference for. Mr. Secretary, appreciate you taking time on a Saturday. All the best, sir.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you, Leland.